Hey homies, thanks for tuning in. This is our very first episode of Helping Our Music Industry Evolve, aka the Homie Podcast. In upcoming shows, we'll be sharing interviews with some of our incredible homies, the music industry's top thought leaders, creators, and community builders. But for this first episode, I wanted to do a monologue to set the tone for future episodes. See, I'm all about empowering the creators who are the lifeblood of the music industry, and I love sharing the wisdom that I've learned from working with hundreds of insanely talented creators and watching them work so hard to grow their careers and become successful. And the sad truth is this: no matter how good they are, the majority of them still fail. So we're going to start off by discussing the number one reason why most artists fail and the top 3 things they can do to increase their chances of success in this wacky industry. You're listening to Helping Our Music Industry Evolve, aka the Homie Podcast, where we bridge the gap between the traditional music industry and the new creator economy. I'm your host, Logan Crowell, serial entrepreneur and marketing nerd on a mission to empower music creators. Join me on this journey so that you don't get left behind in the new paradigm, and I'll show you why there's never been a better time to be in the music business. And now, let's dive in. So first off, let's talk about why most people think that artists fail. Most people think artists fail for a few common reasons. Number 1, their music isn't good enough. This assumes that success is a meritocracy where the best creators win. But that's false. Many brilliant artists get lost in obscurity while lesser talent finds a way to thrive. Great music alone is not enough. Number 2, they don't have enough money. Sure, money helps, but some of the biggest stars started with nothing. Lack of resources forces creativity, and as I often say, money has a way of finding the projects that deserve it most. There's absolutely an insane amount of money in the world right now, and the people that have it are always looking for projects to invest in that they believe will be successful. A strong vision and a compelling narrative attract money. Number 3, they can't get to the right gatekeepers. Gatekeepers like labels and playlist curators matter less and less as more platforms allow artists to directly monetize their following. That is the trend. As algorithms increasingly influence discovery, viral growth becomes possible for anyone. We are moving to a future where there are no gatekeepers. Number 4, they don't get enough exposure. See, buzz alone won't convert listeners into fans. They have too many options. They're swimming in a sea of free music. Fans are built through songs and experiences that resonate deeply and form an emotional connection with your audience. Temporary visibility without substance is pointless. Number 5, they aren't good content creators. Great marketing cannot sustain a weak business. Content creation is important, but for artists with a real message, content creation is simply the process of leveraging a specific medium and platform to get their message out. Some legends rarely post online, yet still have massive followings. Obsessing over social media pulls focus from making timeless, compelling music. Create something that makes you want to shout it from the rooftops. So, if it's not these typical assumptions, what is the number one reason why most artists fail? It's a lack of long-term strategic thinking. Most artists fail by treating their music careers like get-rich-quick schemes, not lifelong journeys mastering a craft. Those with sustainable success don't obsess over short-term plays, but rather focus on writing truly incredible songs, making high-quality master recordings, and building a great fan base. They play the long game and don't chase immediate gratification. Overnight success is a myth. Imagine you're an archer entering a competition. On tournament day, you walk up to the target, draw back your bow, and fire your one and only arrow. You're convinced that a single shot will determine your fate as an archer. Either you bullseye and achieve instant glory, or you miss and are forever branded a failure. Unfortunately, this is how most artists tragically approach their music careers. They believe some singular event like getting a record deal or having a hit song will catapult them to enduring success. And when that event fails to materialize, they think that they've lost their one and only shot at fame. But real achievement doesn't work this way. Lifelong careers that are really fulfilling are built carefully and methodically through long-term strategic thinking. There are no instant wins. You must diligently fire thousands of incremental arrows over time until you achieve mastery. Even then, you won't hit the bullseye every time. Enduring artists are like master chess players, strategically planning many moves ahead for victories down the road, not just next week. Chess masters don't expect to win in one or two moves. They think through many moves in advance, patiently positioning each piece into the right spot before making a full-on attack. Music careers work in the same way. The most successful artists spend years and even decades honing their craft, learning to find their fan base, building relationships with other talented people, and laying the groundwork for long-term success. They weather failures and challenges along the way, always keeping their eyes focused on the bigger picture. The music industry rewards patience and persistence. Those who push through challenges with their eyes fixed on personal growth, long-term positioning, and consistent incremental progress ultimately build a strong, sustainable business instead of becoming a one-hit wonder. Most artists lack this strategic mindset. They want stardom immediately. They believe some external force like a record executive or producer holds the key to their long-term success. So they scramble to get signed, not realizing a record deal alone guarantees nothing. Most major label artists never recoup their advances. Their albums flop and they get dropped. These artists mistakenly believe that a singular event like signing a deal would make them stars forever. And most of the ones that do break through are only able to get their 15 minutes of fame instead of a lifelong career. So don't be a flash in the pan. Instead of thinking about getting a deal, make plans to build a loyal team. Assembling a team requires strategic relationship building over years. You can't just haphazardly piece together an effective team overnight. It takes time to network, meet potential partners, and learn who you can trust and build trust with them. Capable team members will carefully assess if you have the mindset and persistence to play the long game. Enduring careers are built on shared values and commitment to the journey, not transactional opportunism. Still, a lot of artists who do learn to navigate the industry end up bouncing around from one unsavory record deal to the next, never stopping to assemble real business infrastructure and a true support system like we offer here at home. Because those artists never take the time to build their own businesses, they are always at the mercy of other businesses that they are working for, the labels, the promoters, agents, publishers, and managers. Without learning to play the long game and being the leader of their own team, they can't survive the challenges. And facing challenges is one of the only things you can guarantee in this life. Savvy artists realize this and put in the time to build relationships with partners who are invested in their long-term success, enough to work through those challenges together as a team. Sometimes those partners are big labels, but all that means is that hopefully there will be a significant amount of money invested in the project. And remember, that money is a loan that the artist must pay back before receiving any royalties. A big label deal can certainly help, but it doesn't guarantee anything. Sadly, we've all heard stories of artists having mental breakdowns after early setbacks. They're big single tanks and they spiral, overcome by the fear that they've lost their one shot at success. And who can blame them when society tells them this damaging binary myth of instant stardom or failure? Make it big tomorrow or you might as well quit. We must abolish this delusion that enduring success ever happens overnight. Even the biggest pop stars put in years of baby steps on the long, winding road to fame. There are no shortcuts. If you skip steps, you do it at your own peril. For even the biggest recording artists, it takes years of hustle before they hit it big. Take the Beatles, for example. They performed live over 1,200 times in Hamburg, Germany before returning to UK and finally getting a record deal. It took Rihanna over 2 years after getting signed to release her first album. Katy Perry was dropped by 2 labels before her smash hit I Kissed a Girl. She could have given up after those setbacks, believing her one shot at success had passed, but instead she persisted and embraced the long-term perspective. So don't give up, because your biggest break is often on the other side of your biggest defeat. It's important to mention here that success in the music industry is no longer binary. It's not an either-or scenario where you're either rich and famous or a complete failure. Thanks to the rise of streaming and online platforms, more and more artists are making it happen on their own terms instead of expecting some magic bullet, gatekeeper, or record deal that will instantly make them successful for the rest of their lives. So what exactly do I mean by binary thinking? It's believing in absolute extremes like fame or anonymity, riches or bankruptcy, perfection or worthlessness. It leaves no room for gradual progress or small wins. For musicians, binary thinking manifests as a self-destructive belief that a singular accomplishment like getting signed to a major label or having a Billboard #1 hit is the key to lifelong success and security. They mistakenly think, oh, once I get X accomplishment, I'll be set and I'll never have to struggle again. This distorts their priorities in the pursuit of incremental gains that could actually build the momentum that they need. Binary thinkers get stuck on one rigid plan and can't adapt when things change or new opportunities arise. Successful artists constantly reinvent themselves and their music over decades. So don't get distracted by what the conventional wisdom says. Chart-topping songs, digital buzz, and tastemaker cosigns may eventually arrive. But stay focused on playing the long game wherever that takes you. Legends are not built overnight. A magnificent castle constructed to stand for centuries does not spring up in a day. It requires vision, planning, and laying each brick deliberately over years. Likewise, iconic artists need a compelling long-term vision to construct a career that endures the shifting cultural winds and the fickle tastes of the consumers. There will always be setbacks and course corrections, but you cannot derail those who embrace the long game. The strategies for short-term wins and long-term success are often totally different. Define your vision and trust the process. So here are some steps that artists can take to define their vision and trust long-term strategic thinking. First, conduct thought experiments to imagine your ideal future 10 or 20 years from now. Envision the impact you want to have on the world and work backwards to the present moment. This expands your perspective beyond short-term gain. Next, you want to identify core values and impactful themes that matter most in your work. Use those as an inner compass to guide strategic decisions, especially when the path forward seems unclear. You have to know your true north and make sure it is reflected in your creative and career choices. Find an accountability partner or mastermind group outside your normal social circle. Getting candid feedback from those with different viewpoints can be a hard pill to swallow, but it will become your superpower if you embrace it. We all have blind spots, and we all need others to help us see them. A community like home can provide this dynamic for you. Also make time for contemplative practices like meditation or nature walks. Calming your mind opens you to strategic insights and makes you able to trust your own instincts. These mindful moments bring new inspiration. They maintain optimism by focusing on progress over perfection. You don't have to map out every milestone. Trusting the process means celebrating small wins. You also need to document your ideas extensively. Most ideas never come to fruition, but they do fertilize strategic thinking over years. Making documentation a regular practice gives your subconscious fuel for organizing your thoughts around what you want to manifest. Revisiting old notes can reveal surprising connections and patterns. So be patient and persistent if your vision isn't crystal clear yet or if it takes a while to emerge. Major breakthroughs in output often require decades of honing skills and developing innovative techniques. Stay the course. Make sure you're iterating on your sound over time until you unlock universal emotions in your songs. Don't rush or force your way to formulaic songs just to chase mainstream clout or ride someone else's wave. Stay true to your long-term vision if you want to become a legendary artist. Legendary music touches people profoundly. This speaks to a key mental shift. You need to stop judging yourself by superficial metrics and seek the true deep rewards that are going to enrich your life. Sure, these metrics are important, but they also ring hollow without devoted fans who meaningfully connect with your work. Focus on creating work that moves people rather than creating arbitrary statistical goals. Measure yourself by the passion, creativity, and purpose you pour into your career. Numbers are quite often a lagging indicator of the level of passion being poured into your project. So, in summary, how can you avoid the mistakes that derail most artists? Here are my top 3 practical tips for strategic long-term thinking. Number 1, stay obsessively focused on building a truly remarkable song catalog over decades. Don't build a reputation of releasing mediocre songs and chasing fame. Masterpieces aren't created overnight. Keep writing, iterating, and perfecting your craft. Eventually, those timeless songs will come. Number 2, focus on building systems that make your business and creative processes more efficient. This enables you to increase your output without compromising quality. Start by strategically eliminating all unnecessary distractions. Then make sure you have systems in place for your production, marketing, and engagement so that your music money machine runs as efficiently as possible. Increased productivity compounds over years. And number 3, patiently cultivate relationships with team members based on shared values and vision rather than on opportunism. Align yourself with people who enrich your life and care about your long-term success, not just short-term gain. This tribe will keep you grounded and motivated through the ups and downs. Adopting these habits requires rejecting the seductive myth of overnight success. Lasting careers are creatively constructed brick by brick over decades. Stay committed to the long game and remain confident as you slowly ascend the summit. With strategic thinking and the right team around you, your patience and persistence will be rewarded. Savvy artists know that the proper positioning and small victories now will compound into something greater down the road. With strategic thinking and commitment to their craft, artists control their own destinies. The only way to truly fail is by giving up. Otherwise, it's all just part of the journey, part of the infinite game. Stay focused on what is moving the needle and play the long game wisely. Think like the chess master orchestrating all the pieces on the board, and you'll become unstoppable. Thanks for listening to Helping Our Music Industry Evolve. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with a homie. And be sure to subscribe for new episodes at homie.show. If you want to develop a winning strategy for the modern music industry, then head over to homie.news and join my weekly newsletter. And if you're looking for a supportive community where you can get plugged in with top music industry creators and executives, become a home member at homeformusic.org. Until next time, peace, homie.